Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. I was supposed to do this live earlier, but I had to go out. So let me make sure that I'm live. How is everyone doing? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to be really fast because I'm gonna be fast and thorough, but I am getting on at 6:30 with my son with our cooking show. So I gotta do this beforehand. Like I said, I was supposed to do this video earlier, but hopefully this can help you. If you missed it, it is loaded on my YouTube channel. Let me make sure that's scrolling. It is under Kristen Nicole Mann. So yeah, if you didn't catch it there. So 10 ways or 10 signs to know that you're in the wrong environment. I've been wanting to talk about this because this is something that a lot of people may be thinking about and really concerned. Are they in the right place, right space, right time, whatever the case may be? And I'm just going to walk you through some steps or signs that you might be recognizing in your personal time, in your personal life, that could be signs that you're in the wrong environment. So let's get started. I'm, of course, going to put all the 10 signs in the comment section. So let's start with number one. So, number one, a sign that you can feel when you're in the wrong environment is you feel stuck in a rut. You feel stuck in a rut. So, what does that mean? You just feel stuck. Like you don't feel like there's nothing coming in or coming out. And when I say environment, I really don't want you to get put that in a box because environment could mean something spiritually, it can mean something mentally, it can mean a physical place. It can mean something that you're supposed to shift to or pivot to. So I don't want you to get stuck in the way you're thinking about environment because there's several of ways that you can think about this. So you feel stuck in a rut, you don't um really experience like there's no growth, you kind of just like, I don't know, there's no outlook on the situation, this industry, this thing. So you feel stuck in a rut. That's number one. And also your progress, you want to track your progress. That's another way to know if you're in the wrong environment. Number two, you don't have a plan. And I'm reading my notes because I always prepare. You don't have a plan. That's another sign that you're in the wrong environment. What is plan? It's almost self explanatory. You don't have a clear direction of where you're going. Maybe the place that you live or where you're at mentally is just, or just in general, like it could be a job. There's no clear direction. Like there's no way, no light at the end of the tunnel. So you're kind of just like, I don't know, I'm just winging it. And a lot of us can get in that space when we're in the wrong environment. So you want to take some time to brainstorm some new ideas, like lifestyle you want to sit down and think about. Like, what lifestyle do I want? What lifestyle am I going after? What lifestyle has God told me I'm supposed to be living? We don't think about these things sometimes. We just kind of like go for it and then think about it the rest later. We're not doing that moving forward. So this is why I'm on here now talking about this. Now let's go to number three. You're not in alignment with your values. You're not in alignment with your values. So you could be working a job, in a relationship, in even a church, and you're not, we grow and evolve. So if we're not in the right environment, and I hope I'm not freezing because it keeps saying my Okay, I don't think I'm freezing. So you're not in the right you're not in alignment with your values. So you could be following the right path and this still happens. Like I said, you could be in a great job, but your values have to be compromised, or it's just not fitting where you evolve to as a person. We all grow, we all change, and we're not the same as we was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So if that space is not fitting your growth, then it may be time to go to another environment. That's just as simple as it is. And also, I wrote down, if you find yourself going through the motions without any real joy or fulfillment, that's another sign within this sign, because nobody wants to go through life with no joy, like no fulfillment. Nobody. I don't care who you are. Nobody wants to go through that. So when you don't have real joy, you don't have real fulfillment, then it may be time to reassess. That was the notes that I wrote down. And this is all informational purposes. My only goal is to help whoever watches this realize, what I've realized in the past, or what I've realized currently. And some of the movements that you have to make to other environments, it could be a bold move. Like, it could be something that you are afraid, or you have like nervousness about, and all you have to do is jump. I don't know how else to say that. But just jump and see what happens on the other side. That's what faith is. Faith is not always going to be every I dotted, every T crossed. So you want to be careful of blocking your own blessings. So number 4, you don't have a support system. This is a big one. This is a big one. You don't have a support system. Now, when you live in a physical place, and let's say you have children, you need that support system. It doesn't matter how strong of a parent you are, or, even married parents, unmarried parents, it doesn't matter. When you have children, you need that support system. If you are single and you don't have children, you still need a support system or a community that you can tap into that could help you with, if you need a ride, if you need some sugar, if you need resources. Do you have that community that you can go to help you? Having a good support system, what I wrote, can help keep you on track and moving forward when times get tough. So right now, we're in a recession. No matter what they say, we're in a recession. The dollar is lessening. Our dollar doesn't have the same value. So I just went to the grocery store. 12 things was $50. Little things, like it was a bag of chips, a taco kit, and salsa. That's what I felt like I bought, but it was almost $50. So we are in times that people, the outlook looks pretty gray, and they don't really know. And so right now, people are assessing their environment, because what might have worked before the pandemic doesn't work now. So you want to make sure you assess like who's around you. If you haven't tried to have a community or people, if you're like a prideful person, you don't really want to ask for help. Now is probably not the time to be prideful, because we're all going through the same thing in this Western hemisphere. Because I know I have some people that watch in Africa and stuff. I don't know your economy, but in America, the economy is shifting. So if you need a new job, do you have people you could talk to? If you need a new church, do you have people to talk to? Like, you want that support system. Number 5, you're not taking risk. That's another sign that you're in the wrong environment. So it goes back to number 1, like if you feel stuck in a rut, you're not going to want to take risk. You're going to kind of just like stay in that place. And these all go together. So it's like, if you feel stuck in a rut, if you don't have a plan, if you're not in alignment, they all go together. And these are all signs that you can look to in order to assess if you're in the wrong environment. Sometimes it doesn't always mean pack up and move physically. Sometimes it means like mentally pack your brain up to what you used to think, get rid of those old ways and replace them with the new things. And that's what renewing your mind every single day. I'm a woman of faith, so scripture is really going to help. Talking to therapy or counselors is really going to help. All these things are going to help get you out of this freeze mode. That's what I call it. So number 5, you're not taking risk. What do I have down as my notes? Taking calculated risk can help open up new opportunities and possibilities in your life. If you find yourself playing it too safe or being overly cautious, which I find myself doing all the time, then you may want to reconsider and start pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. So what do we need to do now? Some of us in the recession, we have to pivot. Like when I used to could easily sell artwork, it doesn't work now because people are not worried about artwork. There are people that still buy artwork, but they're not concerned about because we're in a recession. So right now, a lot of the things that I'm looking at for business-wise is like, where can I pivot to that still fits the skill set, the values, and everything that I believe in, but it's something different. It's something out of my comfort zone. We have to take a look at those things sometimes, and we don't want to do it. Hi, Angela. Who else is on here? Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to put your comment up. We sometimes have to look at all these things because, oh, Mom, I didn't tell you I was getting on. We have to tell people, we have to encourage people to get out of their comfort zone because we can get stuck in that rut of doing the same thing. What's going to work in 2024 is not going to work. That it may not have worked in 2023, 2022. So we got to get out of the rut and start taking risks. Okay. Number 6, I'm trying to get through this fast because I gotta get on with my son and cook. You don't have any mentors. That's number 6. You don't have any mentors. It's always good to have mentors. This doesn't always mean that you're paying. Technically, mentors, you're not supposed to pay mentors. I know we have mentorship programs and all of that, but when you look at the definition, it doesn't really mean like you're supposed to financially pay for a mentor. Let's say you don't have the money. Go to YouTube, type in the topic that you need help in. And if you are a Christian, definitely make sure they're biblical and they're biblically correct. And you make those teachings your mentor. You don't want to worship the person, but really listen to what they're saying. Pay attention to if it can benefit you. If it can't, find something else. And that's a form of a mentor. If you have someone in your community that is 12 steps ahead of you, make sure you ask them, can they be your mentor in a certain arena? But like I said, it doesn't always mean that you need money, financial means to pay someone for the information they're supposed to be giving you. If you have someone that has the right heart and they really want to help people, they're not going to probably charge you. They're going to be on giving you value constantly, like a consistent base. They're going to be give you value to the point where you're going to want to pay them. So you want to look for those type of people that have a lot of value that they're giving you on these online platforms to the point where you want to actually physically talk to them or meet up with them. Next thing, number 7, Signs that you are in the wrong environment. Number 7, you don't see any progress. You don't see any progress. So, if you've been working hard but not seeing any visible results, then it may be time to take a step back and evaluate your current situation. So this is something I'm currently going through. Like I told you, I was a painter. I am a painter. I know how to paint all day, all night. I know how to paint with my eyes closed. But at the same time, I have other skills. I work for a law firm. I, worked in the corporate world. So I'm not just a painter. I have other skill sets that might have to come they have to come to the forefront now, because we're in a different space. We're in a different era. We're in a different time in this country. So I will have to pivot, because the progress is not the same as it was post-pandemic or the beginning of the pandemic. These checks are not being produced no more. Like the checks that the government was giving us, they're not being produced anymore. So they're being specific with what they want, their needs, what they pay attention to. So if you're not seeing any progress, that's just one example of business. Let's say you're at a job. The company's not growing. It's obvious, there's visible results that the company's not growing. The management or the leadership is not telling you the truth, but yet you're hearing about all of that around you. You might want to take some time to assess where you're going, what direction you're going into. Same thing, if a church you're going to that you loved, and you just don't see no growth, you don't have to feel bad for finding a place that could steward you in the time or season that you're in. It doesn't mean you hate people. It just means like you grew out of people and the teachings and everything that was being done, and now you need more. You need like a meteor message, or you need something that's like really a level up from what you already overcame. So if you don't see any progress, again, what I wrote down is invisible results. I said, ask yourself what needs to change in order for you to start making real progress towards your goal. Have conversations with yourself. It doesn't have to be weird, but sometimes I have to give myself a reality check and say, this ain't working. So what are we going to do, Kristen? That's the conversations I'm having now, because again, we're in a different time, different season. There's different decisions that we have to make. And we have to be real with ourselves. If we're not real with ourselves, we can't be real with other people. Number 8, you're not enjoying the process. You're not enjoying the process. All right. So I can give another example. So I said life can be challenging at times, but if you're not finding any joy, we're coming back to that word joy. If we're not finding any joy or satisfaction in what we're doing, then it may be an indication that something needs to change. Change is hard. People don't like change. Us as humans, we don't like change. Now, if you have been transformed by the renewing of your mind, change is not going to be so resistant. In your case, you're going to, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, and you're going to move forward. But if you are trying to resist the change, you're just digging yourself in a hole. And this is a hard lesson that I had to learn and still am learning. You don't want to fight God, especially if he's telling you to change, adjust, flip, turn, whatever the case, however he talks to you. And I said, take some time to reflect on whether or not the path you're on is still a good fit for you, and make necessary adjustments accordingly. So again, is it the right fit for you right now? Is what I'm doing providing for who I'm taking care of or who I'm responsible for? Is what I'm under as far as teachings or this mentor, is it really the right fit right now? That's what the questions will bring to head. Like, what fits my life right now? Lifestyle. So you want to think more about lifestyle. I know specifically Black people, we do not try to plan out life 10, 20 years ahead. We kind of just like day by day, survival mode. That's not healthy. And I've learned that's not healthy consistently on a consistent basis. I know it's hard, but you're going to have to change your mindset on how you outlook, like your outlook of life is. Because if you don't change, nothing's going to change. If you don't change in here, nothing is going to change. That's just how it works. All right, number 9. I'm almost done. Number 9 is you feel burned out. You feel burned out. This is a sign that you are in the wrong environment. You feel burned out. And I have all of these in the comment section. So if you're taking notes, hopefully you're getting that. All right. Kingdom people. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Feelings of burnout can be a sign that you're overworking yourself or not taking enough time to rest and recharge. If you've been pushing too hard for too long without any break, then take some time off and come back refreshed with new ideas. So we need to rest. But if your environment is not allowing you to be refreshed, restored, you got to assess this. If it's not giving you the time to do those things, you have to assess what direction are you going into. We can overwork ourselves, we can do all those things, but at the end of our life, it's not going to turn out good. I know personal people, including my dad, that didn't take care of themselves like they should have. They didn't put themselves as a priority, and the outcome of that wasn't good. And so this is the mission of me getting on here, is like, we have to have better outcomes in life. No matter what we look like, if we're brown, we're white, we're purple, we're blue, we have to have better outcomes, and we need to consistently be assessing where we're at in life. It quarterly, every 2 days, whatever you want to do that fits your life, we need to be assessing and evaluating what direction are we going into. There's certain conversations I've had with myself recently, and I'm like, okay, I have to put myself as a priority. Like I thought I was, but I'm not really doing that. I'm still saying yes to things that lead to burnout. I'm still not really concerned about, my well-being. So we have to have conversations out loud, like I said before, about these things. Last thing, number 10. This is a big one. This is the last thing. You're not learning anything in the environment you're in. You're not learning anything. That's number 10. We want to really pay attention to this one, because we are supposed to be learning every single day something new. It doesn't have to be a skill. It doesn't have to be anything complex. But I know every day that I read a scripture or something, like, my mind is renewed. So if we're in environments that's combating that, and it's like going against that, it's no good. No bueno. No bueno. So you want to shift or position yourself in an environment that aligns with what you're doing. If I like to learn and I'm in a space where I'm like absorbing information like a sponge, guess where I'm going to be at? In those environments where I can learn on top of what I'm already doing at home. So, what I wrote down for this one, it says growth comes from challenging ourselves and constantly striving to learn more. So, challenging. So, it didn't say growth comes from taking the easy route. It said from challenging ourselves. So, we've gotten a little bit comfortable where we're at. And if you are too comfortable, you'll slack off. That's the results that happen with me. If I'm ever too comfortable, I slack off. But it says growth comes from challenging ourselves and constantly striving to learn more. If it feels like you're just going through the motions, if it feels like you're just going through the motions without gaining any insight or knowledge, then it may be an indication that something needs to change in order for you to reach your full potential. So, this is the theme here: change. Challenging yourself, gaining more. That's what life is about. We're gaining more. We're not staying in the same place. So number one, what was that? You get stuck in a rut. So that number one in itself proves that you're in the wrong environment. You don't even have to have all 10 of these. You can have number one and be like, okay, I need to assess this. You can have number two. You don't have a plan. Your environment should encourage you to have a plan in place. Number three, you're not in alignment with your values. Your environment should align you with your values. This stuff shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't feel like you're hitting your head on a brick wall. Number four, we should all have a support system. If we cannot call at least one person, or if people don't check on us, it goes both ways. If you're constantly checking on people and you're constantly running around and seeing how people are and they're not checking about you, you're possibly in the wrong environment. You're in the wrong space, place, job, relationship, friendship, church, you name it. You should always have a support system wherever you're positioned at. So if you don't, you got to assess that. Number five, you're not taking risk. God's limits is way further than what we could see. We limit ourselves, but God doesn't limit us. So his parameters are way bigger. I mean, who would have thought a girl that had kids before marriage, that was out here in the world, would have went to Africa this year and spoke to 2,000 girls about their hygiene? I wouldn't have thought that, because my limit was I'm just going to stay local or in America because that's just what everybody else feels about me. But no, you have to recognize what God feels about you. And if he's nudging you about the environment that you're in or the mental space that you're in and saying, change that, you want to start working on that today, not tomorrow, but today. So this takes work. You know, this is not something that's just going to fall out the sky. I know a lot of churches have taught that, but God, whatever he wants to give us, we have to work at it. So if you're not taking risks, you're in a comfort zone of thinking that God's going to do all the work for you. God does not do all the work for us. God gives us the idea. He gives us the strength. He gives us our limbs. He gives us our things to our body to work it, but it's not going to fall out the sky. So if you're not taking risks, your environment may be limiting you in order to do so. The next thing, you don't have any mentors. So write down who you may admire, who you may want to get in communion with, like fellowship with. If they check off all the things that you want as a mentor, contact them. Get out of your comfort zone and contact them. Tell them that you need a mentor and see what they say. If they have a rude response or they're like, I don't really know, then you just go to the next person. But I would at least write out like 3 people. And like I said, if you don't have money financially, if someone's charging for them to be your mentor, then go to YouTube and type in what you're seeking right now. And if you're a biblical person, make sure they're in biblical alignment with what they're talking about. Number 7, I'm just refreshing everyone. You don't see any progress. That's big, y'all. That's big. Sometimes we're ignoring that. We're ignoring the progress that we've made since we've been in a certain environment. And like I said, there's sometimes where things shift in the country in general, where it's going to take that environment down. And it's like, as long as you don't go down with it, you have all rights to pivot. So if you don't see any progress, don't be so attached to it. Like, detach and go somewhere else that God is leading you to do. So we don't want to be attached to anything. You're not enjoying the process. We are to do things with joy. We're actually supposed to enjoy the process. I know our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents showed us that they didn't enjoy really what they were doing, but that's, some of them did show us that they enjoyed what they did. So if we're not enjoying the process, it doesn't make us a bad person. God is not condemning us for not enjoying, but that's a sign that it just may be time to move on. If you're not enjoying it no more, it may be a sign to just move on. This is a big one now. I've been talking about this in all my other YouTubes. Go follow my YouTube channel, Christy Nicole Mann. Burnout. You feel burned out. Now, burnout is not fun to recover from. I burned out in about 2019, 18, I burned out. Crash, burn. Wasn't fun to recover from. You know why I burned out? I burned out because I was trying to be the God in my life. We are not able to do everything, anything for all people. So right now, your audience that you're trying to serve may not be the audience that you're supposed to serve right now. It might have worked in 2019. You might have been serving a different audience. Right now, God wants you to go over here and serve these people. And if you're resisting that, and I'm going to do both, you're splitting yourself in two. And that burns you out. So God's might have shifted your life and you may just be you're disobedient. That burns you out too. Because what he wanted you to drop, see, the thing is, he knows ahead of time, way ahead of time, what our lives are going to pan out like. He knows what decisions, he knows everything about us. So when we decide to do the opposite, he allows us to deal with the consequence. So do you want the burnout consequence, or do you want to be with joy and fulfillment and all of those things? So we have to ask ourselves, which one do we want? Do we want to struggle, or do we want to thrive? Because I'm not with the struggling. The struggling has been taught and trained to us for years and years and years. Let's struggle. Let's have struggle love. Let's have struggle success. Let's have struggle friendships. Let's go to a struggling church where nobody gets along. These are all dogmas that have been in place, but we have the opportunity to choose different. We have the opportunity to go in a different direction. God gives us that as a gift. So if you want to stay in disobedience, he's like, okay, well, if y'all want to do that, then go ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but just know you're going to come right back to where I said you need to go into. And it's going to take you a couple steps back and time that you wasted when you could have just made the decision to go that way. So the last one, you're not learning anything. We are human. We have a brain. We are supposed to be learning stuff. This is why he placed us with a brain inside of our heads. We are not supposed to be a robot, a machine, anything outside of that. We have a brain, beautiful brain, that makes us retain information. It's a beautiful thing. It's a muscle that he's given us to learn, things. And like I said, think about what new skills you can develop and how they could help push your career forward, or push your family life forward, or push your friendships forward. All of that matters, because let's say you have a skill set, you've been operating in your skill set of, working with your hands, building stuff. But let's say you have a skill of articulating yourself and knowing how to help others articulate themselves. Maybe you have the gift of typing, transcripts or something, but you've been just sitting over here building stuff. Yeah, like, I'm not qualified to do that. But God's like, I want you to use this skill set in this season. If we reject that, what did I say? He's going to allow us to keep building stuff. But guess what? There's going to be no progress. There's going to be no enjoyment. You're not going to be able to be fulfilled. And so we have to get uncomfortable with the learning. Sometimes we have to learn things that we would never choose on our own. And sometimes that looks hard. But if you change your mindset and you say, if God put me in this, he's going to be with me during this. So I'm not going to look at it as hard no more. I'm going to look at it as a way to move forward in the life that he provided for me. And he's never going to give me second best. He's going to give me the best, if not top tier. So he's not saying these things. I look back now at some of the stuff that he told me to pivot to, and now I'm like, wow, I really should have listened. See, I'm not on here just saying this to y'all like I don't listen. I don't listen a lot of times either. I just be like, yeah, okay, God. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, all right. And he's just like, go. He keeps dropping ideas. And the main thing I can tell you is if you get ideas that you wouldn't come up with on your own, that's God. That's not the enemy. That's not Satan. That's God giving you that idea to embark on, to create. Because God is going to give. The enemy is going to take. So if we're in environments that are taking, there's no refilling, no refreshment, you're not restored, you're not in that environment because God led you there. You're in that environment because of the enemy wants to take you out. So you have to saturate yourself with learning new things. Yes, you do. And you want to apply the work to what you're learning. All of, like I said, the 10 things, they take work. He didn't give us these bodies for no reason. That's why he tells us to take care of our temples, because we have work to do. Just because the news is saying recession, don't feed into that and just say life is over. It's like cycles of recession has been in history. There was a recession when Jimmy Carter was in office and the interest rate was like ridiculous. Look that up. When Jimmy Carter was in office, you talking about inflation now. If we was in that time, which I pray we don't get to, it would be a hot mess. We would see more and more and more people crying right now. So recession always circles back around. But like Miles Monroe said, there's always millionaires birthed in recession, in crisis. And right now we're in a crisis, and you might just have to change the way you think. You might have to change the way you create. You might have to change the thing that you create in this time. You might have to change that environment. If you have a bunch of negative Nancy's around you and you're just not in a negative space, you're trying to grow, you're trying to evolve, you're trying to succeed, you have to probably change your environment. So I'm going to put this up on YouTube. I got to get off and get back on. I'm cooking with my son. So watch our cooking show at 6:15. Y'all always get it when it. But I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. This is what I'm doing now. So if you support with a subscribe, I would appreciate it. I hope this really helped you. And I really pray that you all don't, get stuck in a rut. I really pray that you all get out of that rut if you are in it. I've been in ruts too, so you're not alone. But I just had to get on here and talk about this because I'm like, we're in a time and a season of pivoting. We have to pivot. Okay? So y'all have a good night, and I will see you in an hour. Talk to you soon. Bye.